Hey guys, welcome back to science. So today we are starting on page 48 in your science textbook, so go ahead and get there. Let's go over our vocabulary first. So the first word we have today is conservation. And conservation is the protection and restoration of species and natural resources in an ecosystem. So we talked about imbalance yesterday. Today we are talking about how people are fixing that imbalance. So they're restoring the balance to an ecosystem through conservation. And then we have captive breeding. It's a method of increasing the population of an endangered species through human intervention. So we have an animal that maybe its habitat has been ruined and the population is decreasing. There's less and less of these animals as the year goes on. And so humans say, all right, we have to get involved, and so they get animals in zoos, and they put them together, they have children, and then they eventually create a bigger population of this animal through putting them in captivity, so in like zoos and places, okay? So let's continue, or rather, let's begin. Human activity is responsible for a lot of damage to living things and their ecosystems. However, people can also help ecosystems to recover from the damage. Many people are getting involved in conservation by protecting and restoring the ecosystems. Many people have joined together to help animals in habitats that have been polluted by spilled oil and other chemicals. Others who live in areas where forests have been destroyed are planting new trees and limiting the number that can be cut down. People are working with the governments to pass laws that protect endangered species. Captive breeding programs have been developed. The endangered animals in these programs are bred and released back into the wild in order to restore the population of their species. When people join together and help, damaged ecosystems can become healthy once again. Let's look at that bald eagle caption. In the United States, the bald eagle is protected by law. Processing even a feather from a bald eagle may result in a fine up to $10,000. So, the bald eagle is the basic symbol of America, right? You see a bald eagle and you think, wow, America, right? And so it's endangered, and so it is protected under U.S. law. And if you try and sell one, if you capture one, if you even sell a feather, it says, you could be fined up to $10,000 because it is protected under law, because it is an endangered species. Okay? Let's continue. Let's look at the next caption. Many companies that log forests are now planting one tree for every one they cut down. So, we need trees, right? We need firewood. We need wood for building things, right? Houses, different things. So, it's not a bad thing to cut down a tree because God gave us those resources to help raise us up, right? So we need to use those resources, but we need to be mindful of how we are using the resources and how much we are using. So it says when people log the forest, that means cut down trees, they are putting back and planting one tree for every one they cut down. So they are not decimating a forest. They're not completely clearing it out and not growing anything else. They're planting another one in its spot. So the ecosystem can recover. Okay, let's continue. People are not only helping undo the damage that has already been done to ecosystems, they're also preventing further damage from taking place. For example, laws are now in place to make it illegal to dump chemicals into lakes and streams. Remember this guy? Looks awful, right? So we don't want this into our lakes and streams. So, there are laws now in place to make it illegal to dump those things into lakes and streams. Factories are now required to reduce the amount of pollution they release into the air. Also, Places that are home to endangered species are being set aside as wildlife refuges. These are safe places for animals to live. People who protect the environment not only help animals and their ecosystems, they also help themselves. By protecting the air, land, and water, we can keep people healthy now and in the future. Conservation will help the earth and its resources to be preserved for future generations to enjoy. All right, let's look at that recycling bin caption. It says, recycling reduces the space taken up by landfills and helps to prevent deforestation. So if you remember in the last page that we read, it showed that landfill where it's just that mountain of trash. By recycling, that stuff in that recycling bin gets made into something else. And so we are not putting it in the landfill. It's being recycled. It's being made into something new instead of going into the ground and being covered. Okay? And lastly, the koala. Some koalas are being protected in Australia's wildlife reserves. So koalas are endangered species that humans had to step in and make sure that they got protected because their home was being destroyed because people were cutting down trees, and you'll see that the koala is in a tree. And so if their habitat was going away, they would eventually go away too, or have to adapt to some new lifestyle. Okay? So humans stepped in and made a wildlife preserve where people can't live, but those animals are able to roam free, and they are doing better now because people aren't allowed to take away their habitats. All right? I'll see you next time.